Good morning again. It's Cory Doctorow, and it's about 10 a.m. and I'm hustling to get at the door, but I'm going to give you a quick 10 or 15 minutes before I hit the road. Busy day, busy week, leaving for Vienna in the morning, and then Geneva, and then Uganda, hoping that the riots there end by the time I reach it. Lots of EFF related travel, UN stuff, and Pan-African Copyright Ministers meeting that should be a lot of fun. Be my first trip to Africa. In the meantime, I'm trying to nail up some deadlines. I've got a piece on deadline for the New York Times, another one for Wired, both of which are pretty exciting. I'll be sure and blog those when they come out, so you'll get a chance to see them. And what else is up? Well, it's just busy around here. Almost through this story, and when I get through it, I think I'm going to take some time off towards Christmas. I'm going to be traveling too much, I think, to really make this happen, but we'll see. And like I said, there's this really special thing coming up where a friend of mine is going to read one of my stories, and I'm going to podcast that. I'm really looking forward to that. So here we go. Half my crew split this morning, Queen Kong typed. Google was holding up pretty good anyway, of course. The load on the servers was a lot lighter than it had been since the days when Google fit in a bunch of hand-built PCs under a desk at Stanford. We're down to a quarter, Felix typed back. It was only a day since Popovich and Rosenbaum left, but the traffic on the newsgroup had fallen down to near zero. He and Van hadn't had much time to play Republic of Cyberspace. They'd been too busy learning the systems that Popovich had turned over to them, the big routers that went on acting as the major interchange for all the network backbones in Canada. Still, someone posted to the newsgroups every now and again, generally to say goodbye. The old flame wars about who would be PM, or whether they would shut down the network, or who took too much food. They were all gone. He reloaded the newsgroups. There was a typical message. Runaway processes on Solaris. Hi. I'm just a lightweight MSCE, but I'm the only one awake down here, and 4 of the D-slams just went down. Looks like there's some custom accounting code that's trying to figure out how much to bill our corporate customers, and it spawned 10,000 threads, and it's eating all the swap. I just want to kill it, but I can't seem to do that. Is there some magic invocation I need to get this goddamn Weenix box to kill this shit? I mean, it's not as if any of our customers are ever going to pay us again. I'd asked the guy who wrote the code, but he's pretty much dead as far as anyone can work out. He reloaded. There was a response. It was short, authoritative, and helpful. Just the kind of thing you almost never saw in a high-caliber newsgroup when a noob posted a dumb question. The apocalypse had awoken the spirit of patient helpfulness in the world's sysop community. Van shoulder surfed him. Holy shit! Who knew he had it in him? He looked at the message again. It was from Will Sario. He dropped into his chat window. Sario, I thought you wanted the network dead. Why are you helping MSCs fix their boxing? Sheepish grin. Gee, Mr. PM, maybe I just can't bear to watch a computer suffer at the hands of an amateur. He flipped to the channel with Queen Kong in it. How long? Since I slept? 2 days. Until we ran out of fuel? 3 days. Since we ran out of food? 2 days. Geez, I didn't sleep last night either. We're a little short-handed in here. ASL? I'm Monica and I live in Pasadena and I'm bored with my homework. Would you like to download my pic? The Trojan bots were all over IRC these days, jumping to every channel that had any traffic on it. Sometimes you caught 5 or 6 flirting with each other. It was pretty weird to watch a piece of malware try to con another instance of itself into downloading a Trojan. They both kicked the bot off the channel simultaneously. He had a script for it now. The spam hadn't tailed off even a little. How come the spam isn't reducing? Half the goddamn data centers have gone dark. Queen Kong paused a long time before typing. As had become automatic when she went high latency, he reloaded the Google homepage. Sure enough, it was down. Sario, you got any food? You won't miss a couple more meals, Your Excellency. Van had gone back to Mayor McCheese, but he was in the same channel. What a dick. You're looking pretty buff, though, dude. Van didn't look so good. He looked like you could knock him over with a stiff breeze, and he had a phlegmy, weak quality to his speech. Hey, Kong, everything okay? Everything's fine, just had to go kick some ass. How's the traffic, Van? Down 25% from this morning, he said. There were a bunch of nodes whose connections routed through them. Presumably most of those were home or commercial customers in places where the power was still on, and the phone company's COs were still active. Every once in a while, Felix would wiretap the connections to see if he could find a person who had news of the wide world. Almost all of it was automated traffic, though. Network backups, status updates. Spam. Lots of spam. Spam's still up because the services that stop spam are failing faster than the services that create it. All the anti-worm stuff is centralized in a couple places. The bad stuff is on a million zombies. If only the losers had had the good sense to turn off their home PCs before keeling over or taking off. At the rate we're going, we'll be routing nothing but spam but dinner time. Van cleared his throat, a painful sound. About that, he said. I think it's going to hit sooner than that, Felix. I don't think anyone would notice if we just walked away from here. Felix looked at him, his skin the color of corned beef, and streaked with long, angry scabs. His fingers trembled. You drinking enough water? Van nodded. All frigging day, every 10 seconds. Anything to keep my belly full. He pointed to a refilled Pepsi Max bottle full of water by his side. Let's have a meeting, Felix said. There had been 43 of them on D-Day. Now there were 15. 6 had responded to the call for a meeting simply by leaving. Everyone knew, without having to be told, what the meeting was about. So that's it. You're going to let it all fall apart? Sario was the only one with the energy left to get properly angry. He'd go angry to his grave. The veins on his throat and forehead stood out angrily. His fist shook angrily. All the other geeks went lids down at the sight of him, looking up in unison for once at the discussion, not keeping one eye on a chat log or a tailed service log. Sario, you've got to be shitting me, Felix said. You wanted to pull the goddamn plug. I wanted it to go clean, he shouted. I didn't want it to bleed out and keel over in little gasps and pukes forever. I wanted it to be an act of will by the global community of its caretakers. I wanted it to be an affirmative act by human hands, not entropy and bad code and worms winning out. Fuck that. That's just what's happened out there. Up in the top-floor cafeteria there were windows all around, hardened and light-bending, and by custom they were all blinds down. Now Sario ran around the room, yanking up the blinds. How the hell can he get the energy to run, Felix wondered. He could barely walk up the stairs to the meeting room. Harsh daylight flooded in. It was a fine sunny day out there, but everywhere you looked across that commanding view of Toronto's skyline, there were rising plumes of smoke. The TD Tower, a gigantic black modernist glass brick, was gouting flame to the sky. It's all falling apart the way everything does. Listen, if we leave the network to fall over slowly, parts of it will stay online for months, maybe years, and what will run on it? Malware, worms, spam, system processes, zone transfers. The things we use fall apart and require constant maintenance. The things we abandon don't get used, and they last forever. We're going to leave the network behind like a lime pit filled with industrial waste. That will be our fucking legacy. The legacy of every keystroke you and I and anyone everywhere, anywhere ever typed. You understand? We're going to leave it to die slow, like a wounded dog, instead of giving it that one clean shot through the head. Van scratched his cheeks. Then Felix saw that he was wiping away tears. Sario, you're not wrong, but you're not right either, he said. Leaving it up to limp along is right. We're all going to be limping for a long time, and maybe it will be some use to someone. If there's one packet being routed from any user to any other user anywhere in the world, it's doing its job. If you want a clean kill, you can do that, Felix said. I'm the PM, and I say so. I'm giving you root, all of you. He turned to the whiteboard, where cafeteria workers used to scrawl the day's specials. Now it was covered with the remnants of heated technical debates that the Sysadmins had engaged in over the days since the day. He scrubbed away a clean spot with his sleeve and began to write out long, complicated alphanumeric passwords salted with punctuation. Felix had a gift for remembering that kind of password. He doubted it would do him much good ever again. We're going, Kong. Fuel's almost out anyway. Yeah, well, that's right then. It was an honor, Mr. Prime Minister. You going to be okay? I've commandeered a young sysadmin to see to my feminine needs, and we found another cache of food that will last us a couple weeks, now that we're down to 15 admins. I'm in hog heaven, pal. You're amazing, Queen Kong, seriously. Don't be a hero, though. When you need to go, go. There's got to be something out there. Be safe, Felix, seriously. By the way, did I tell you queries are up in Romania? Maybe they're getting back on their feet. Really? Yeah, really. We're hard to kill. Like the fucking roaches. Her connection died. He dropped to Firefox and reloaded Google, and it was down. He hit reload and hit reload and hit reload, but it didn't come back up again. He closed his eyes and listened to Van scratch his legs, and then heard Van type a little. They're back up, he said. Felix whooshed out a breath. He sent the message to the news group, the one he'd run through 5 drafts before settling on, "Take care of the place, okay? We'll be back someday." Everyone was going except Sario. Sario wouldn't leave. He came down to see them off, though. The Sysadmins gathered in the lobby, and Felix made the safety door go up, and the light rushed in. Sario stuck his hand out. "Good luck," he said. "You too," Felix said. He had a firm grip, Sario, stronger than he had any right to be. "Maybe you were right," he said. "Maybe," he said. "You gonna pull the plug?" Sario looked up at the drop ceiling, seeming to peer through the reinforced floors at the humming racks above. "Who knows," he said at last. Van scratched, and a flurry of white motes danced in the sunlight. "Let's go find you a pharmacy," Felix said. He walked to the door, and the other Sysadmins followed. They waited for the interior doors to close behind them, and then Felix opened the exterior doors. The air smelled and tasted like mown grass, like the first drops of rain, like the lake in the sky, like the outdoors in the world, an old friend not heard from in an eternity. "Bye, Felix," the other Sysadmins said. They were drifting away while he stood transfixed at the top of the short concrete staircase. The light hurt his eyes and made them water. "I think there's a Shoppers Drug Mart on King Street," he said to Van. "We'll throw a brick through the window and get you some cortisone, okay?" "You're the Prime Minister," Van said. "Lead on." Well, that's as far as I'm going to read. I'll leave it with one more installment to go. I hope you'll tune in for the conclusion. Talk to you later.